UTIs are the worst. I've been there. One year, I had 8 UTIs. If you get UTIs, then you understand how awful the cycle can be. I was taking all the precautions, and cranberry products, they just never worked for me. I was desperate for a way to be proactive. It was hard on me and on my husband.
It was tough to see her in pain, and I wanted to help.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Spencer.
With Spencer's background in biochemistry
and our shared frustration when it came to UTIs, we were inspired to start Eucora.
At Eucora, we make innovative urinary tract supplements and UTI relief products. Our effective urinary tract supplements finally give you a way to be proactive.
Feel like you've tried everything? We get it. We have a money-back guarantee so you can try risk-free. If you're not happy, you'll get a full refund.
We're on a mission to help women get their lives back. Ready to join them?
Get 30% off Eucora when you go to eucora.com/audio. That's UQORA.com/audio.
Katharine Burnett is a professor of art history and a 2023 Public Scholarship and Engagement Fellow who co-chairs the UC Davis University's Department of Art and Art History. She is a faculty affiliate of the East Asian Studies program who travels frequently to the Tea-Lands. Katharine holds degrees from both the University of Michigan and Wellesley College and has taught at the University of California, Davis for 27 years. I'd like to welcome Professor Katharine P. Burnett, the founder and director of the Global Tea Institute for the Study of Tea Culture and Science at the University of California, Davis.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be with you, Dan. It's always fun to talk with you, and I know we're going to have some fun stuff to talk about today.
What was your inspiration?
Decades ago, when I was writing my dissertation, I discovered that there was an interest in originality in the late Ming. It went above and beyond anything that was of aesthetic value. It was the paradigmatic value of the time. And what I was surprised to discover was that one of the main theorists was a friend of the main potter, Isingware potters. And I went, I've got to write an article about this. Well, years pass, I don't write it because, tea is not a big deal in American studies, but it's still in the back of my mind. I had been made in 2012 the director of the East Asian Studies program on campus, and I was looking for ways to make this program higher profile on campus. And our wonderful librarian, Axel Borg, said, you got to meet this guy, Daryl Cordy. He has the major grocery, and he's a world expert on food and beverages, and he collects Japanese art. And you're the Asianist on campus. He will want to talk to you. And I'm like, no, he won't. I do China. He's interested in Japan. He's not going to want to talk to me, but thank you. And Axel kept saying, no, you got it. You must talk to him. Okay. So we arranged to have lunch. Daryl goes, you want to go to this fancy restaurant or dim sum? I'm like, let's find out what Daryl would go for dim sum, because he's this internationally acclaimed food expert. He's an advisor to the Smithsonian. He's an advisor to the Robert Mondavi Institute for Wine and Food Studies on campus. I mean, amazing guy. Daryl had been collecting incense burners. So I brought a few of my incense burners that I'd gotten in China, and some of them were in the shape of teapots. So I brought some teapots as well. So we're sitting there, and Daryl suddenly looks down and he sees these things on the table, and he picks up a little teapot and he goes, where'd these come from? I said, I brought them, blah, 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 blah. He says, Katharine, what I don't understand is why doesn't UC Davis study tea? And I went, what a great question. I have this article that I've been trying to write for now decades. I've been made head of East Asian Studies. We have all these great people. So we created the All Things Tea Faculty Research Cluster. We applied for this grant. We did not get it. And later I talked to one of the reviewers, and she said, oh, well, you weren't doing blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, we were. And I just went, we were too ahead of the curve. We're just way too ahead of the curve. But Daryl, and I really want to give him lots of credit here, he wouldn't let me stop. And he got me introduced to Wing-Chi Ip, who you know.
Wing-Chi Ip is a brilliant scholar, tea artist, collector, and owner of the Laksha Tea House and Museum, which he founded in 1991 in Hong Kong Park.
And Wing Chi got me invited to speak at the Xiamen International Tea Fair in 2014. And I go to Xiamen and I give my little spiel. This is what we're proposing. This is what we're doing at UC Davis. And I'm figuring nobody's going to care because why would they? And the audience, I think I was on a panel with, I don't know who I was on the panel with, but almost all the questions were for me afterwards.
I was in the audience.
And people were like, this is great. Whoa. And they had all these ideas and they thought this was really fabulous. And I'm going, really? And they said, well, what are you going to do when you go home? And I said, well, I guess I'm going to talk to my chancellor. Development took me under their wing and for a year took me all around campus to all the departments that I'd already talked to on behalf of this All Things Tea research cluster, including grounds planning and facilities management and all these things. But now with development next to me, they're taking me even more seriously. And after a year of this, they say, now you can go talk to the provost. The office of the provost and your deans will give you some money for 2 years for startup funds. And we'll give you more startup money for 3 years. And let's see what you can do. Well, so that got us enough money to be able to start planning and organizing the colloquia. We've done a sort of a test run in 2014 with Wing Chi and another speaker. 200 people showed up. It was phenomenal. And it was like, holy smokes. And so when we had the colloquium, I knew we would attract some people, but 400 people registered out of where are they coming from? Across campus, across the region, Bay Area, flooding in. And then, so that's 2016, our first colloquium, and All Things Tea, something like that for the first colloquium. And by 2017, 2018, we had the beginnings of our Tea Advisory Committee, an advisory board, which is a philanthropic board. And with the funds from this group, it has given me the operating funds to run GTI from year to year. And so to organize the colloquia and bring in the speakers and host a few on-campus events. It's also such a joy because these people in the tea industry are so lovely. Ostensibly, they're competitors, but they work so nicely together. They all recognize that that GTI is important. And I will tell you that when we were first getting going, people would come in the industry would come up to me and say, Katharine, we've been waiting for this for 30 years. But UC Davis, this is perfect because your mission is to educate and share knowledge. And we don't care if it's a green tea or a black tea or where it was from, if it's from China or Japan or India or Sri Lanka or Africa or, Argentina or Colombia. So now our industry is composed of about 9 member companies from national and international companies. We hope to continue to expand because this is how we get our operating funds.
One of the things I want to talk about is the hub concept that you've championed, knowing that you're going to have professors sharing knowledge in a very sophisticated way and then disseminating it face-to-face, 10,000 miles apart.
Great question. So a bunch of things. First of all, I'm going to do a little cheerleading for Davis before I launch into the hub. The reason why UC Davis is the amazingly perfect place, right time, right place, and we just got sort of lucky with that, is that not only is it a leader in agricultural studies nationally and internationally, often it's number one in nutrition studies, often. And number one or top ranked in so many other different fields, including things that don't get ranked. So because UC Davis is a large scale university, because we have over 100 undergraduate majors, because we have over 100 graduate programs, plus four colleges, 6 professional schools, we are the most comprehensive campus of all the 10 University of California campuses. We are the most comprehensive campus. And we're the world leader in ag and environmental studies and nutrition, and we've done wine and beer studies forever. And our mission is to teach, to research, spread knowledge through teaching and publication. So it's the perfect setup. And we believe in collaboration. So I've been actively talking to other universities around the world who have key programs and they want to collaborate. Then you have to find somebody who actually does the collaboration, but at least we are opening up the bridges to enable these collaborations to take place. And that's really important. And so through these colloquia, let's say soft landing kinds of initiatives, we're spreading out. We've established a name, a brand, a reputation for excellence, even though we're very young. We've launched a professional tea certificate program, the UC Davis GTI Professional Tea Certificate Program. It went public last year for the first time. It will go public again in 2025 for the second offering. We're still working out some details, so we don't have a start date yet, but it's going to happen. We have a great lineup, and this is done at the request of the industry. And largely it is industry members who give individual lectures as part of this short course. For the last 7 years, we've offered a co-taught course to our undergraduates, mostly as a first-year seminar that is capped at 19 students for first years and transfer students who are new to campus. And it's a nice way to get them comfortable on our campus because it's a big campus. We have about 40,000 students now. And last year we ran it as a large enrollment class, again, co-taught across the disciplines. We're going to incentivize faculty to create courses that will be approved, and so that we can develop an undergraduate program in global tea studies. Instead of teaching one course, they can use that time to write the course. Mm-hmm. And the money goes to the department, but the faculty get the time to write the course and get it pushed through the system. You need, I think, around 6 to 10 courses for an undergraduate minor, and then over time grow the number of courses to a major. But this is happening on this campus, which means that this is going to be the first, and as far as I can tell, only place in the US to have a global tea studies degree. It's an umbrella program that would engage faculty from across the various colleges, from the humanities and social sciences, engineering, sciences, agriculture, nutrition. So whatever department you're in, you could have a course that could be part of this program. So that's in the works. Students have been contacting me and saying, I've just found out about GTI. Can I come to Davis? Like, yeah, just get yourself into the system. You've got to apply formally. Then once you've been accepted, then you can work with whatever faculty member in your area of interest to do an independent study. And as an individual course or an honors thesis or an MA, MFA, and PhD, we have graduate students doing graduate work in tea in all sorts of disciplines. We want to encourage that. We want to continue that.
So let's discuss how the GTI colloquia are structured and then get specific about this year's 10th anniversary event.
One of the things that we felt our way towards was to have an event that would engage culture and society, science, health, and the industry. And we sort of stumbled on that fairly early on, didn't realize how phenomenal that was as a concept. But it has worked beautifully. It always makes me sad that we can only do one day because it's like worth a whole week of talks, but nobody has that kind of time. But in having those different approaches, whatever theme we set, and the theme is always something that is a bigger idea that enables whatever speaker to address the theme according to their research interests. So there's a lot of flexibility. But what happens is that the effect of the event is like a kaleidoscope. So that you get this perspective, and then it shifts a little bit, and you get that perspective, and then it shifts a little bit, and you get a completely different vision of tea. And then it shifts again and again. And so the sum of the whole is far greater than the individual parts. I know there's this way of saying it. I'm not saying it very well, but the overall effect is like, it always leaves me going, wow, that was really inspirational. And the ideas that it sparks in from the speakers to the audience, the ideas that the audience gets themselves and makes these connections across the disciplines, and also from the informal conversations that people have in the audience amongst themselves, the networking opportunities just for thinking or for business, whatever it is, are phenomenal. So I'm really proud that we've done that and that we've consistently kept it. And that, frankly, we, as much as, except for the COVID years when we couldn't meet in person, it's in person on site so that there's this human engagement.
The speakers you have invited reinforce the idea that human engagement over tea encourages civilized cultural exchange.
You can do things by Zoom, and we're grateful for it, like this opportunity to speak, today, but there's no substitute for human engagement. This year, to celebrate our 10th anniversary, I really wanted us to think something really big. And what is bigger than world peace? Now, I knew that we couldn't enact world peace, that's a little too ambitious, but we can think about it. And the more we can think about it, the better it is for us. So we set the theme of tea and peace, bringing communities together. In the fall, our undergraduate Global Tea Club organized a sip-in for peace on the quad, so that it was a way to advertise GTI and the club activities, but also to set the theme from the students' perspective. And then in January 30th, we'll have our 10th anniversary colloquium on site in the UC Davis Conference Center. Please register. The link is open now, and it's important that people come. We will record it, but the recordings never go up until several months later because they have to be processed for equal accessibility. And then in the spring, we're going to have some remarkable artists come to campus to exhibit their work and talk about their work, and do a performance, a limited audience participation for that. Only 25-30 people will be able to attend that. But for the talks, it'll be open. All of this will be held in the Minetti-Shrem Museum of Art. And then in spring quarter, this year we'll have an exhibition in the Minetti-Shrem Museum of Art. There will be lots of things to come and see and think about. I hope that people will think about the ways that tea can bring peace to us individually, whether it's just a cup at home and it soothes you in the moment, or you share with a friend and that communication between friends is so soothing and inspiring and helpful, or more broadly among industry or business or the governments and our nations, because, we're people first.
Register to attend the January 30th colloquium at globaltea.ucdavis.edu or visit the TBiz blog.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Produced by Audavita Studios. Connect your voice to the world.